I have. I think one of the most interesting ones I've seen is Harriet Walter's Prospero and the Tempest, which is part of the all-female Shakespeare trilogy that was done at the Donmar in the early 2010s, I think it was. They did Tempest, Julius Caesar, and one other, Henry IV, I think. And it was I think it worked really, really well. There's a terrible film with Helen Mirren as Prospera, not Prospero, which isn't terrible because of the gender swapping, but is just terrible anyway. I think actually that aspect of it does work quite well in that film. But in the Harriet Walter Tempest, that works really well because it's not overly done. It's not. They don't try and I don't know. It's not the headline of it. I guess it's quite subtle, which I think is the best way to do this kind of thing because it just feels normal. It doesn't feel like it's not made to feel different or weird or any kind of other that Prospero is a woman. It's just part of the facts of the play, which I think is the most successful way to do that. Because it forces the audience, means the audience don't think about it, and because they don't think about it, then they do think about it, which is quite an interesting thing. It makes you kind of confront that, as an audience member, it makes you confront that expectation.
I have not seen a female-male gender swap on stage in a Shakespeare play before, but I'm not the biggest expert here.
My memory's been tested a bit here. I can't really think. I was supposed to play one of the witches, one of the three witches in Macbeth. I didn't actually get round to doing that. That was in a Troubadour production. So the people editing know about this, haha. But I think it would have been interesting, because I think with the witches of creatures that, you know, not of this world, of human species, I think they're probably less concerned with that sort of human construct of gender.
I've seen a lot of Shakespeare gender play. That's a weird sentence. I'm going to change that. Have you ever seen up on stage? Yeah. I've seen a lot of gender swaps on stage in Shakespeare. I think there's two ways to do it. One is to play the character in the gender that it is written, and just have an actor of the opposite gender playing that character. And the other choice is to change the gender of the character. I've seen both. I think both are really interesting, and you can really play around with both.
I've seen, I think the most memorable gender swap would be Twelfth Night. I think the 2012 version at the Globe with Mark Rylance and Stephen Fry, where the entire cast, well, it's an all male cast, playing all of the roles, which is fantastic.
One of the most effective ways that I've seen, I think, was at the Globe a couple of years ago, and it was Emma Rice's A Midsummer Night's Dream, and they changed the role of Helena to be a boy, and it was a homosexual man, and it just made that love square. Is it a love square? I guess it is. But it made that love square really interesting because it added an extra layer, and it really brought it into the 21st century and brought it into our modern world. I'm a huge believer that theatre should be portraying the streets that we live on and the world that we live in. And I think a lot of the time swapping genders and playing around with that can really help do that. I think another really effective way of changing gender in stories was done in the West End production A Company that we saw very recently. And there was a lot of gender swaps in that. The lead character of Bobby was changed from a man to a woman, and there was quite a few other roles in it that were switched. It just brought a whole new dynamic to the piece, and it really brought it into modern day and the modern day issues that we face, the inequality in genders that we still have, the homophobia in the world, and all of this can be brought into a piece by changing some genders. I think you just have to do it educatedly.